just be voting no.
Item 59 is a motion that was passed with no vote.
Discussion? Favoring, opposed, motion carries.
Item 60 is an ordinance.
Discussion?
I'm sorry, it's a resolution.
Discussion? Councilmember Rodriguez?
Thank you, Mayor. And, colleagues, I'd like to just publicly thank my constituents from the Solomon area for coming to committee and public session yesterday, and for the correspondence, the emails, and the letters that they've sent regarding this proposed project. There is no community support for this proposed project at this time, so I'll be voting no and standing with my constituents of the Solomon area. And if I could have a roll call vote, please, Mayor.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Bradford?
Thank you, kindly, Mayor. We spent quite a bit of time the day before yesterday here in this chamber listening to the constituents voice their position concerning this particular issue. The developer, I think even maybe the property owner, was here as well. And it became real clear throughout the discussion that the community, the district council person, and certainly I as an enlarged council person, had not been given the information concerning what this particular project was going to be about, and even there was testimony presented to the record that the citizens in the Songwood Civic Association area had exhausted utmost efforts to keep up with what is going on with this project. There were name changes even presented in Austin concerning this particular project, so it made it difficult for the community to follow what was going on. And I'm not anti-developer at all, but I do believe that for a project to go forward, there must be an open and complete disclosure about the project and what's going on. There must be reasonable time for the community and the council members to have input into the project. This project has been advanced forward in a manner that is kind of the textbook way of how not to advance a project. There was testimony from the housing department that the housing department, the city of Houston, doesn't take a particular position on these issues, while at the same time, the RCA that we had at the time, there was in fact a recommendation that the committee approve such and support such. I think that if the housing department is going to get involved, and I think they should get involved and perhaps do some due diligence, because they have the expertise in this particular area as to what a developer has in the city, across the city, and in other states. So I think that on this issue we have an obligation to stand with the community. And in this case, I'll be standing with the district council person because this is just an example again on this project of how it should not be done. Again, you have the various leaders of various groups in the neighborhoods coming forward saying that this is something that they do not support, and then they give you objective data as to why they are not in support of it. And they did a pretty good job, in my view, of demonstrating that they are not coming down here just saying, we don't want this in my backyard. That's not what it was about, but they went into detail explaining why this project should not be permitted to move forward at this time. So I shall stand with the community and say no, not at this time on this project. And I would encourage other colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Councilmember Penny?
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd just like to second Councilmember Bradford's statement. I thought that the testimony was very relevant in terms of addressing issues of traffic and access of students to schools and difficulty in getting there. And, I think it's very important to maintain our neighborhoods to the extent that we can all around Houston, particularly in moderately priced neighborhood like that's close in to downtown. And, if this land was good for a project like this, a permanent project, it probably would have been sold some time ago because it's well located. So for all of the reasons which they stated, I think we ought to reject this, and I would hope, there are better places for apartment projects generally where there's better access, where the access is not through the neighborhoods, and where the amenities that are needed, the shopping and the schools and so forth, are more accessible. And I think that I know we don't have any zoning, but I think that where we have legal authority to make our voices heard, which I guess we do here, hopefully we do here, that we ought to take advantage of it and try to protect a well-established neighborhood that's worked very hard to maintain their standards and provide a place to live. Thank you.
Councilmember Noriega.
Thank you, Mayor. Songwood is located very close to Furrow High School. There was an article recently in the Chronicle about all the progress that's been made at Furrow by the longtime principal, Dr. Bertie Simmons. This is a place where my knowledge of the schools, I think, is helpful. They have been moving the ball down the field, but I would tell you, I think it's a very fragile progress, and it wouldn't take a whole lot to knock them back. And I agree with all of my colleagues, Rodriguez, Bradford, and Pennington, that we should vote no on this, and I intend to vote no. Because that area is working very hard and they have made a great deal of progress, but my sense of things is that they really need our support in this particular situation. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Left.
Thank you, Mayor, and I join my colleagues in their comments and would like to just give a complimentary point to Councilmember Bradford's point. Last week, I want to thank you for last week, this body supported the application of Lafayette Plaza, senior low-income housing in District J. And I must say to you that if there was ever an example on how to do it, Councilmember, that group was it. And not only did they come to me and ask me my opinion about who they should be talking to, but they went to talk to everybody I asked them to go talk to. And at the end of the day, they were able to get community support. And I want to thank you for your vote on that last week. And I also want to commend them to all future developers. And I'll be joining my colleagues in voting against this.
Council members, I want to remind everybody this is, and the public who may be watching, this is state funding that is being requested. We have a pro forma role in simply stating that it meets all local codes, which it does. I'm in some sympathy to neighborhood opposition, and I certainly expect this item not to pass council. But because of the nature of our role in this, I think it is a requirement that I vote yes when we go into roll call. I just want to explain why this happened. If there's no other discussion, we will move to the vote.
Mayor,
There was a request for a roll call vote.
You just want a clarification. I didn't understand your requirement in voting yes.
It meets all local codes and all the criteria laid out in the state's policy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Mayor Parker.
Yes?
Mayor Parker votes yes. Council members Brown.
No?
Brown votes no. Davis.
No.
Davis votes no. Cohen.
No.
Cohen votes no. Adams.
No.
Adams votes no. Martin.
No.
Martin votes no. Wong is absent. Pennington.
No.
Pennington votes no. Gonzalez.
No.
Gonzalez votes no. Rodriguez.
No.
Rodriguez votes no. Laster.
No.
Laster votes no. Green.
No.
Green votes no. Costello.
No.
Costello votes no. Burks is absent. Noriega.
No.
Noriega votes no. Bradford.
No.
Bradford votes no. And Christie.
No.
Christie votes no.